Hello, Realtors, and welcome to the SCR Update, your go-to source for what's happening in the world of real estate and how it impacts you and your business. As always, I'm your host, Nick Kremydas, CEO of the South Carolina REALTORS, and today we've got some big news out of Washington, D.C. that's set to make waves and impact our industry, not only here at home in South Carolina, but across the country. Director Mike, thank you for all the work behind the scenes and getting this set up. Realtors, if you can't see this, we should post a picture of this, Mike, of the new studio setup. We have new teleprompters and timers, everything that we need to keep me on track. Let's see if it works today, Mike. I hope everyone had a wonderful 4th of July weekend. Spending some time with family and friends, and some of you may still be on vacation this week. I hope you are. I hope you're taking some time off and staying cool, even though we had a little brief break from the humidity because of that, I guess, offshore disturbance, whatever that was. I think the heat's back in full swing. Columbia's predicted, what, Mike, 96 degrees today. So welcome to July in Columbia, South Carolina. So, all right, let's jump right in. Now, one thing I want to say before I jump into this, the OBBB, the tax reform bill, is controversial for a lot of different reasons on both sides of the aisle. I'm only going to focus on the real estate provisions. That's the lens that we look at these things through. And I know it's easy for us to do that. But I don't want you to get sidetracked in our discussions today because I'm going to focus on the real estate provisions. So, the OBBB was signed into law on July 4th and contains many provisions that benefit homeowners, consumers, and realtors nationwide. NAR is understandably applauding this legislation as it includes multiple provisions that they championed that are designed to support homeownership and boost the real estate economy. Shannon McGann, NAR's Executive Vice President, Chief Lobbyist, highlighted the significance of this legislation, saying that for many months, realtors across America have been at the forefront of tax reform, making sure that Congress understood that homeownership is not only the cornerstone of the American dream, but a foundation for building wealth, generational wealth, and strengthening communities. So let's talk about a couple of these significant impacts for homeowners. NAR successfully secured, they had 5 top legislative priorities that they wanted in the final package. And these include a permanent extension of lower individual tax rates, a permanent qualified business income deduction, that's Section 199A for you accounting nerds out there, a temporary quadrupling of the state and local tax or SALT deduction, the cap that's set for 5 years starting this year in 2025, protecting for businesses SALT deductions and 1031 like-kind exchanges, and a permanent extension of the mortgage interest deduction. Our chief lobbyist in Washington emphasized that these provisions form the backbone of the real estate economy, from supporting first-time and first-generation buyers to strengthening investment in housing supply and protecting existing homeowners. But wait, there's also a few other things in the bill. There's also some additional good news for our industry here. The bill includes permanent improvements to the low-income housing tax credit to support affordable housing in our communities across the country, an increase of the child tax credit of $2,200, which will be indexed to inflation, which will help ease housing costs for families, certainly impact those budgets, a permanent $15 million estate and gift tax threshold protecting generational wealth transfer, a restoration of critical business provisions like full expensing for research and development, immediate expensing for industrial structures. This will help boost investment in our communities. And finally, this is kind of near and dear to South Carolina Senator Tim Scott, who was the original author of Opportunity Zones. This legislation strengthens these opportunity zones, which will help drive more economic development, especially targeting rural communities. In addition, there's a new, I don't know what the right word, Mike, is. I think some folks are calling it baby bonds program. This is going to be a one-time $1,000 investment by the federal government for each child born after the signing date on Friday. And that $1,000 will hopefully grow over that child's lifetime, and which they'll be able to use for future expenses, including down payment on their first home. So realtor advocacy made a big difference in this process. And in the final weeks that led up to the vote, NAR commissioned polling that showed that there was overwhelming public support for these real estate provisions. For example, 92% supported the tax-free savings accounts for first-time home buyers. 91% supported preserving tax incentives like the mortgage interest deduction. Our chief lobbyist shared these numbers along with the voices of our members from all across the country when we were in Washington, D.C. just a few weeks ago for the National Realtor Legislative meetings. These were the talking points that we shared with our elected officials. And ultimately, Shannon says this is what happens when our members who are backed by facts and united in purpose speak up. That's why we say realtors are the voice of real estate, not only in South Carolina, but across the country.